And good morning, everybody. Welcome to our first edition of our new training platform. This is a stepping stone to our next training, which is going to be September 16th at 10 a.m. as we do a top agent panel with some of the top real estate agents in America. So keep an eye out for that invitation, and thanks for joining us. Today, what we're going to go over 5 creative ways to generate listings in one of the most competitive real estate markets ever. So we want you to be able to interact. So please drop a comment in the chat box. Let us know you're here, and please give us your feedback. So, why listings? That is the big question. Listings equal leverage. Right now in this market, if you're working with mostly buyers, you're working a lot. I've been hearing from buyers agents who are saying they're working more than ever without getting offers accepted. Listing agents are working harder than ever in this market because the listing inventory is so low. So why listings? NAR has come out with the stat that with every buyer you work with, you spend 40 hours, while you work with one listing for 10 hours. So the amount of time you work with one buyer, you could work with 3 to 4 sellers. That is how you can 10x your income. Listings equal leverage. I've talked about this before. If you've attended my trainings, is the best thing too about listings is it could generate you some of the highest quality buyer leads. You can take that listing and turn it into 3 or 4 deals. You can have, I always use the example of Rocco from our office. He made a call with a FSBO, he got the listing, he found the buyer, he got a cross sale from the open house that he did, ended up selling them something as well as listing their house. Listings equal leverage. And what I want to get clear today is for you watching this training and learning about 5 creative ways to generate listings is not going to change your business. This training, the next hour, won't change your business. What is going to change your business is making commitments to implement what you've learned and doing it. Who here, and I'll raise my hand, has been to a seminar, been to a training, you're like, oh, this is such great information, I'm gonna go out and do it. You leave, you're all excited for the next day, you do a little bit of research, and bam, nothing's happened. You go right back into your old ways. You don't try a new strategy. And it's okay, it's happened to me. So really what I challenge you to do is, if you like some of the strategies that we're gonna go over today, and I think you will, is make a plan to implement this strategy. What is the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't work. You will still be in the same spot. So please take the information today and work on implementing it into your business to make a difference. So what I want to do first is go over a little bit snapshot of the market today. COVID-19. This is a year that nobody will ever forget. 2020 has brought on some of the biggest challenges we'll ever face. We were tight on inventory pre-COVID, and then what happened in March with the lockdown and quarantine and everything, our business went to a slow halt. And for all the agents in my office, I preach that I think we'll see a V recovery. I think we'll see it go down, and I think we're gonna skyrocket back up. Even my skyrocket prediction couldn't predict where we are today. Mortgage rates are historical lows, 3 and below, which we've never had before. So what has this done with the lower mortgage rate? It has increased buying power for buyers. That buyer that used to be able to afford a $350 house can maybe afford a $450 house, all because of the interest rates. And what's happening is a lot of buyers want to get into the market now while rates are low before they go up. What else has happened with mortgage rates is some people who were on the fence about selling ended up refining their house and decided to stay put because of all the uncertainty with COVID-19. They say, let's refinance, bring our payment down, save some money during these uncertain times. And that has created a lack of inventory. Here in New Jersey, we've seen a lot of buyers come in from New York with the rates low, with concerns about COVID-19. What we've seen is we've seen the inventory so low, and we've created an unprecedented demand. And if you're working with either buyers or sellers, your job needs to be to educate the buyer and seller about how we're practicing real estate safely during COVID-19. As agents, we've adjusted in the last 6 months to working under the new rules and regulations about showings during COVID, wearing masks, wearing gloves. To the agents, it's become second nature. To the seller who is on the fence about selling right now, due to mortgage rates, due to COVID, they're on the fence. They need help being educated about how we're safely showing houses. Buyers who are on the fence, we need to be educating the buyers about the current market. If this is the market where you're looking for that deal on market, it's gonna be difficult. This might not be the right market for that buyer. It is our time more than ever to be educating our clients. That is what's gonna make us different than the websites and the companies that are out there trying to disrupt the real estate industry. Now you have to look in the mirror. How are you educating your clients? Have you created marketing material? Have you created video that explains what the market is like today and the precautions we're taking during one of the most uncertain times in America's history? Forget the real estate market, just in America's history in general. If you haven't, I challenge you, put together marketing material, put together a video, double down on educating the consumer about today's market, and that's what's going to separate you from another agent. What does the future look like in this market? What's going to happen with mortgage rates? Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, who own 75% of the mortgages in America, have just increased their fee on refinances, which are increasing a little bit of the refinance rate. This has just happened. We're going to see more about it in September, and really more questions about that, just reach out to your trusted loan advisor. But purchase rates are still remaining low. I was reading an article that rates on purchases should remain like this through 2021. Some of the key factors to keep an eye on to see how the market's going to go, because guys, no market lasts forever. A down market doesn't last forever. A crazy super busy market doesn't last forever. Things change. You need to educate yourself, and you need to be able to see what's coming what's happening with the market. So the future, a couple of things to look at. Unemployment rate. How is unemployment rate going to be affected? Right now, there's a lot of people moving from cities to live in suburbia. How long will that trend be? Because for 10 years before this, the trend was more urban cities. But the only constant is that things change. So are you keeping an eye on the market? Because you should be. So what is another factor that's affecting such low inventory rates? More agents getting into the business. I don't think there's ever been such a time that I've seen so many people want to become real estate agents. The enrollment in classes and being able to do the classes virtually during COVID, we're seeing more and more people go attend real estate school. We're seeing more and more people who might have been furloughed or laid off at a job going into real estate. And how does that affect you, the agent? You might be working with a client who says, you know, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, someone in my family just got their license. I'm sorry, but I have to use them. Same thing with the listings. this is going to affect the inventory. So if you are not top of mind with your past clients and sphere of influences now, you better start. Because as more agents come into the industry, the more wedge it can drive in between you and your past clients. And this isn't even taking into account all the websites, the Zillows, Trulias, Realtor.coms, who are trying to get in between you and your past clients. So if you don't have a past client system, and that's a whole nother training, you don't have a referral system, I really, really urge you to look at your system. And are you running your repeat and referral business, which is 90% of agents' bread and butter in this business? Are you running that like you can franchise it? Can you sit down with me and say, hey, Carl, this is exactly what I do to reach out to my past clients and referrals and stay in front of them? Can you? If you can't, you better start now. Confidence. The truth is, not everybody's confident to work with sellers. Working with 10 sellers at a time is much different than working with 10 buyers. In a normal market, because this is not a normal market, buyers are typically pretty happy to work with. Let's go see houses. I can't wait. Oh, let's spend all day Sunday. Let's look at 40 houses. This is so much fun. I've been watching HGTV. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, thanks for taking us. Oh, I love this house. It's a fun experience for the buyer. You can deal with the seller, and I've been there, who calls you after the first showing and says, hey, Carl, they left the hallway bathroom light on, so do me a favor. You need to be here at every single showing. It is a different mentality dealing with buyers and sellers, especially as you scale. If you look in the mirror and you realize, I really, really don't like working with sellers, that's okay. Forget the Facebook groups, forget social media. It says you have to be a listing agent to make it. It's so much cooler. Forget it. You have to do what you like. And if you like working with buyers, what you need to do is figure out how to work with the most amount of buyers in the least amount of time in a scalable system. Because if you really don't like working with sellers, it is going to be tough to scale that. Your listing presentation. I've talked to hundreds, if not thousands of agents, and most agents always say, yeah, I have a good listing presentation, but they don't have the conversion rate that they want or desire. Let me ask you, do you know your conversion rate? Do you know how many listing appointments you go on, and do you know how many you get? Do you go into the listing presentation every time, giving everybody the same experience of what it's like to work with you, or are you winging it? The more you have down your presentation and the more it's systemized, the better you're going to be. And do not fall into this trap. I was talking to an agent yesterday. Some agents get a referral from a friend, a family, and they go, oh, I could just go in there and wing it. And they don't treat that referral the same way they might have treated a for sale by owner, an expired listing, or some other type of lead. And what happens? They don't go in with their A game. And they lose the appointment when they thought it was in the bag. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I've done it from experience. I've gone in thinking this is a shoe-in. I know these people, it's a referral. And I went in laxed and I didn't get the listing. And you know whose fault that is? That isn't their fault. That was my fault. But I've learned from that. You have to have a systemized listing presentation. And the reason I go over this, the more confident you are in your listing presentation, the more confident you're gonna be generating listing leads. If you're not really confident in your listing presentation, you're not gonna be confident in generating those leads, because if you convert a listing lead into an appointment, you're gonna be nervous about it. So really, really sharpen your pencil, get down, get systemized with your listing presentation. So a little bit about my story. In 2006, I was living in Philadelphia, working for the governor of Pennsylvania. It was the job that I was supposed to do after I got my master's degree at Lehigh. I thought it was gonna be my dream job. And about a month into it, I hated it. It was 2006. I was 25 years old. I was broke, had really good hair back then, So a lot of things have changed in the last 15 years. So I was living in Philadelphia. I called my parents and said, hey, Mom, Dad, I'm going to move home. Right? My parents, speechless on the other end of the line. They're like, what do you mean you're going to move home? You've been out since college. I said, listen, I really want to pursue real estate. I grew up around real estate. And this is my time to do it. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I just want to go all in on real estate. So this is 2006, 2007, when the market was booming. So I went into the company and I started focusing on REO foreclosures. And people might think, why'd you focus on REO foreclosures when the market was so good? Because I was looking at the downside of the market falling out. So what I did was I cold called banks, I built relationships with banks and lenders, and I built a pretty big book of REO business. Did it come with challenges? Yes. But do you know what I realized about myself? I was brand new in the business and I had worked with a couple buyers. I was not passionate about it. I was not a good buyer's agent. I would show people the house and say, hey, this is the kitchen, this is this, this is that. And what I really realized is I'm not cut out to be a buyer's agent. It's not my mentality. I was built much more to be a listing agent. So I started listing a bunch of REOs and foreclosures, and I built my real estate business out of there until about 7 years ago when I bought RE/MAX First in East Brunswick, which we have now grown into a multi-office organization. But the reason I like to tell my story is things I'm going to talk about is all stuff that we've done. And they're so competitive from the factors we talked about with listing inventory. It's so competitive right now. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. 2006, 2007, everybody's going for the listings because it's a lot like now. You put the listing on the market, it will sell. But I was focusing on what's coming in the future, and I put in my time, work, and effort, and it paid off for me. But again, that was right for me. But what's right for you? What do you enjoy doing? The best prospecting avenues you have are the ones you enjoy doing because that's what you're going to do. If you don't like making cold calls, you are not going to make cold calls, and nothing's ever going to change that. I was comfortable on the phone, so I doubled down on the phone. What are you comfortable with? That's what you have to figure out. Ways to generate listings. The traditional way we're told to generate listings is one, expireds, right? You go to these boot camps, you go to these seller seminars, you go to all these different type of things, trainings, and people say call expireds. House expires on Thursday, call them 8 a.m. on Friday, get the appointment and get it done. Does that work? Yes. But how many expires are we experiencing right now? One. And how many people are calling that same expired? Have you ever called an expired and they hung up on you right away because you were the fifth person that called them and they were irritated? So we're going to go over strategies of why are you calling the same lead that everybody else is calling? For sale by owners. What's happening in this market is, and I see it on social media, agents are out there posting, oh, I listed this house, I got 15 offers, it sold for $15,000 over list price. You know, what a crazy market. What are you telling your database on social media? What are you telling your sphere? Hey, it's easy. I just list a house, I get 15 offers, 50 showings. That's all you got to do. Do you think that kind of mentality is going to create more for sale by owners, or is it going to create less? In my opinion, it's going to create more. Right, with so many of the Redfins and all these other ways to advertise your listings on the MLS as a for sale by owner, and the market being so good, we're only going to see this sector of for sale by owners grow. Mailers, right? And I've taught mailers the traditional way. Go out, send mailers, pick a farm, get the conversion rate of the turnover rate, how many people are moving, send the mailers, have a call to action. It's great, but we're still going to talk about different ways. Working by referral. One of the best ways to generate listings, working by referrals. So what you're doing working by referrals is your sphere and everything else. And like I said before, challenge yourself. If you sat down with me from across the table and I said, hey, let me know how you generate all your referrals and spheres, would you be able to tell me? So the first strategy we're going to go over is expireds. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, Carl, you told me these are going to be 5 creative ways. I know how to call expireds. Yes, but do you know how to really focus on the good expireds to call? Follow me. Ready? Last October, November, a listing expires. Seller says, you know what? I'm going to wait till after the holidays and the spring market to list my house. How many times have you heard that? Right? You hear that all the time. So they say, I'm going to wait till the spring to list. What happened this spring? COVID-19. What happened to listing inventory? Went down 80%. What happened to all those people who said, I'm going to wait till the spring to list? So if I was going to call expireds to try to generate leads, I wouldn't be calling that lead that everybody called, that just expired. And expireds are down so much right now. There's not as many expireds as there used to be. So I would go back to last fall. I would see exactly who was expiring, who hasn't relisted, who's not on the do not call list. So we're not violating any rules and regulations. And those are some expireds that I would be A, calling, B, mailing to, and trying to get in front of, and C, educating about what it's like to list your house during the pandemic COVID-19. This is what I would be doing to expireds who again expired in the winter. Everybody's going after the expired that just expired today. Go back. There is gold in those old expireds. And that is what I would be focusing on if I was looking to generate leads today. Next, absentee owners. Carl, what is an absentee owner? An absentee owner is exactly that. It is somebody who owns the property who doesn't live there. It could be a landlord. It could be an estate. It could be divorcees that have moved out. It could be a bunch of different things with absentee owners. Real estate investors have been focusing on absentee owners for years as a way to buy properties off market. You as an agent can be focusing on absentee owners as a way to generate your listing leads. You can search absentee owners through Remind, through the tax records, or there's also list sources, listsource.com. And what you can do is you can get the information and you can A, do a mailer, B, if they're not on the do not call list, you can call and see if they're interested in selling their house. The market is at a high. If you're an investor and you have a rental property, and a lot of rental properties are headaches for the landlord. Right now, as a landlord, you can't evict, worried about getting rental payments. Prices are sky high. This might be a great time for that landlord's exit strategy. But again, if you go after a mail or a call or whatever your source is to try to generate business from absentee owners, this is something that has to be done consistently. You can't try it once, not get any listings from it and say, well, that doesn't work. I always use the analogy. It's like if you eat grilled chicken and broccoli one day and you go to the gym and you walk 2 miles and you don't lose 30 pounds, are you going to say that that doesn't work? So it's really important that whatever method you pick, that you go through and you're consistent about it. Short sales. I know there's about 100 people watching this and registered. I know that 20% of the people just rolled their eyes when they saw short sales. But is it a time to focus on short sales? What's going on in the market right now? Unemployment rate is tripled from what it was a few months ago. A lot of people have took forbearances on their mortgage, where the payments are either going to be delayed or tacked onto the back end. A lot of people might be relocating out of state because their job went remote and they need to sell their house and they're underwater. There's 1,000,001 reasons to focus on short sales. If the market turns, and I'm not saying it is, nobody has a crystal ball. But when the market turns, agents who know how to navigate short sales, especially on the listing side, have a much higher rate of getting through a very big downturn. Most agents generate short sales with one way. It is when a past client or a referral or a friend or whatever else reaches out to them that has to do with short sales. There is a small percentage of agents who actually are proactive in ways to generate short sale leads. So what I want to do today is I want to tell you a little bit about how to be proactive in generating the short sales. And I'm not saying you have to go out there and become a short sale expert, specialist, and do all your marketing around short sales. But if the market turns, you better have this in your toolbox, because it will help if the market goes down and you have this in your toolbox. So ways to generate short sales. When somebody misses a mortgage payment and the bank starts the foreclosure action, which they can't do now, but my prediction is at the end of this year, 2021, we're going to start seeing it come back, is the bank will actually serve notice of default, and that gets recorded in public records. You could go into your tax records and pull the foreclosures in your area and people who have started missing payments. It's public information. You could go to another list gathering information site like listsource.com, and you can pull the information of people miss this, and you can target those areas. Again, you could do a mailer. If you could get a phone number and they're not on the do not call list, you can do that as well. You can do a mailer that pushes them, directs them back to a website where you give information just about foreclosures. They fill out that information and then you put them in a sales funnel, right? You have an autoresponder email and then you market to that list of short sales, right? You can also do website SEO, Google pay-per-click ads. A lot of times people will talk to the bank and the bank says you need to find a short sale specialist. What do? They go on the computer, they go on Google and type short sale specialist in my area. Will they find you? Because if they do find you, I guarantee that's going to help generate some leads. Some advantages with short sales is the time, right? You usually would spend less time, and hear me out, some of you are going to disagree with this, you probably spend less time servicing that listing when it's a short sale, but you will spend more time on the processing. So what you want to do is you want to build a team around you, and you want somebody who's going to be able to handle the short sale processing for you, whether it's an attorney, it's an admin, whoever that may be. But if you're able to focus on the lead generations for the short sales, the marketing of the short sales, dealing with the agents on the short sales, but once you get that signed contract, if you're able to hand that over to somebody who you are 110% confident in, that knows how to handle the negotiations of short sale, think about how big you could scale your short sale business. And this is something that I did years ago, before I was an owner. The REO business went through a temporary stop, and I started generating short sale leads. And what did I do with those short sale leads? Is I took them, put them on the market, and I had somebody who was competent handling the negotiations, and we closed about 40 short sales. And I was able to leverage and free myself up of time. Now, if I did it personally, could I probably have gotten some of those short sales to maybe close faster? Yeah, I'm gonna say I could. But would I have been able to do as much as I did time-wise all by myself? Absolutely not. So to me, it was a fair trade-off to let somebody else handle the third-party processing. But again, with the short sales, think about different ways you could generate leads. Mailers, internet, Google pay-per-click leads, all different ways to generate these leads. Video marketing machine. This is probably one of the most inexpensive, and if you do it consistently over time, effective ways to generate listing leads. And just a disclaimer, you don't need a professional production studio. You can't see right now, I have lights around me, we have a production studio set up. You do not need that to be able to do this. All you need is a cell phone. Don't be afraid of video. The way you look and sound in real life is the way you look and sound on TV. The way you look and sound on camera is the way you look and sound in real life. All right? Don't be afraid of it. I was deathly afraid of video when it started. I remember thinking, I don't want to do this. I don't like the sound of my voice, just like everybody else. But over the last 4 years, I've committed to doing video, where I've gotten a lot more comfortable with it, and I've seen a lot more results from it. So create a non-branded Facebook or an Instagram page. East Brunswick Realty Specialist, Cranford Realty Specialist, Canton, Ohio Real Estate Community, something like that, something non-branded. It doesn't have to be real estate, just something non-branded. And what you want to do is you're going to want to record videos and create content that is relevant to sellers. Let's go over some topics. What could be relevant to seller? What precautions are we using to market homes during the COVID-19 pandemic? Hi, it's Carl Sanfilippo with RE/MAX First Realty. Over the last few months, our country's been through a huge change and we have a new normal. These are the following steps that we take to ensure we can show your house, get top dollar, right? And keep everybody safe. These are great things that you can just post and you can do. And what happens is the power of video is you get to see somebody's body language. You get to experience something. People remember what they hear, read, and see. Leverage it. I've seen so many people do such a great job of video and they're so consistent with it. You become the expert. You can do a monthly market update. If I was an agent looking to generate business through video on my non-branded Facebook, Instagram page, what I would do was I would have, at the beginning of every month, I would say, let me talk about the recent sales in town. Because if you're selling, what do you want to know? You want to know what the other sales are in town. You want to know what the comps are. You want to know how the market's doing. So give them the information. There's been this many sales. The average price has been this. The average turn time is this. The absorption rate is this. Every month I would do it with a different background and somewhere else. And I would put that video on my Facebook page or Instagram page. And I would pay a little bit of money, which would go into to boost it. And I would have it run all month with market updates. I would then take that video, put it into an email, and blast it out to my whole sphere. Here's some market updates. And now you're staying in front of your past clients, giving them value. Because they might be thinking of refining or selling, and they want to know. And they might raise the hand from that video. So you can take this one piece of content, and now that's an asset for you that you can leverage to your past clients and try to generate business from. So the monthly marketing update is a great, easy way to get in front of people. Right? You could feature businesses and business owners in town. If you really want to double down on a town, you could go feature the business owners. You can interview them. Again, a lot of this stuff you could do with your cell phone. To be able to get a microphone, to be able to get a light, to be able to get, you can get it off of Amazon for a really basic price. But what you have to do is you have to actually do it. And then once you get the box and you open it up, you can't just stare at the box. You have to use it. You can interview business owners. And you know why you might interview the business owners? It gives them exposure, shows that you are an expert in the local area, and can help you generate referrals from other business owners. It's like going to the Chamber of Commerce meetings, but on steroids. Because you're highlighting this business, and you think the next day if somebody comes in and they're talking about maybe selling their house and you just interviewed them, they're not gonna say, oh, you should go talk to Carl at RE/MAX. He's a great guy. He was just in here yesterday. That's how you can start really helping dominate an area in town, right? You could go to live events at the town and you could go live. Be the expert, right? Facebook, go live. Here we are at East Brunswick Day. Look at all these great vendors. This is a perfect weather. Bring the family. Now it's different, okay? COVID. We're not gonna see events really for the rest of the year. But you can pick certain things to go live about, put it on your non-branded page, and just become the expert in your area. And you don't have to be salesy. You could create seller tips. 5 simple ways to increase the value of your house with little to no money. Hi, I'm Carl Sanfilippo with RE/MAX First Realty, or I'm Carl Sanfilippo with East Brunswick's a great town. We're gonna go over 5 steps of how you can increase the value of your house with little to no effort. And then again, you can send this video out to your database. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna create content, and then what you wanna do with that content is use that as an asset. How can you repurpose that video? okay? And then that's how you start building a machine. And don't be salesy. Do not be salesy. Do not give your cell phone at the end of every video. Do not say, and if you want to work with me, call me. Because you know what happens? The biggest way people communicate now are through Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger. If somebody is watching your video, they're not going to sit there and write down your phone number and call you. They're probably going to send you a direct message through Facebook. If you don't have Facebook Messenger app on your cell phone, you should probably download it. You probably have messages in there. I've had people reach out to me that I went to high school and other aspects of life about business, and it's all happened through Facebook Messenger. It is the new store that's bringing information to people. Embrace it. Don't run from it. Same thing with Instagram. You're going to check your messages. So don't be too crazy about having your cell phone. It doesn't have to be professional. You don't need teasers. You don't need this. You need the cell phone and your courage to just do it. Right? Again, video will make you the leader of the local community. It will make you the expert. It will make you the authority on what's happening in your town. And that's going to help you generate business. It also shows that you're different than other agents. If you're sitting in a listing appointment from somebody who saw your video, do you think you have to explain to that seller that you're different than the other two agents that sat there? If you've been given great content about the town and the house is in that town, do you think you have to convince the seller that you're the local expert? No, because you've already done it. Don't tell people what you can do. Show them. Show them you're the expert. Show them the videos you've done. Show them you interviewed the local pizza guy, the mailman, the mayor, whoever else it might be. You don't have to sell them that you're the expert. You've shown them you're the expert. You also don't have to sell yourself that you know technology. If you're sitting with a seller and they see what you're doing, they're going to know. What's the biggest age group on Facebook right now? I was reading an article the other day. I believe it was 50 and above. Who's selling houses at the highest rate? That age group. Meet them where they are. So you can post it on your page and you can boost it to targeted areas. So if you're focused on East Brunswick, Cranford, whatever town you might be in, you could do a video like this and just boost this to the town in a 5-mile radius, right? Also, what I would do is I would take the video, and if it's a 2-minute video, the content of my post would be exactly what I said in the video. But everyone's going to think, oh, Carl, we're going to sit there and write it out. I'm going to give you a hack. You go to rev.com. And guys, everything I'm telling you is what we are already doing. So this isn't just like I read this in a book, like the $1 Million Real Estate Agent or whatever, and it's theory. I'm telling you things that we've done and we implemented at a high level because there are no secrets. So all you have to do is go to rev.com, upload your video. It's $1 a minute. They'll transcribe everything for you, and that's the content of your post. Post that, use some emojis, grab people's attention, boost it to the local area, and be consistent with it, and start generating those leads. Again, consistent, consistent, consistent. With any of these 5 strategies I'm talking about, if you try it once, don't even bother. You need to commit to it. You need to commit to doing it. Your business changes when you commit to prospecting, period. No other way around it. And I know it's not fun and I know it's not tough, but to build longevity in this business, lead generation is key. The 5th strategy I want to talk about is referrals from other agents. Who here is in a Facebook group that people give each other, that ask for referrals back and forth, right? Who's in the groups? Come on, we all know them. Lab Coat Agent, the Remax referral groups. Who's in those groups? Who's gotten business from those groups? Who has posted about an inquiry in your area and haven't gotten the business? 99% of agents see a post. Hey, I need an agent looking in Somerset County, New Jersey. I'm just using that as an example. Hey, I service Somerset. I'd be happy to help. Here's my phone number. Or, yeah, I do. DM me. And then you never hear from that agent. But you're like, oh, I tried. What if you took that a step further? What if you looked up that agent's phone number and called that agent and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Agent, I saw that you have a referral in Somerset County, New Jersey. I actually live and work in Somerset County. So I want to personally reach out to you because I like to give a personal touch in my service and I wanted you to experience it. Right? Everybody else is just leaving their name and phone number. You're being proactive, reaching out to the agent. You're getting a chance to sell yourself on why you should get the referral. Think about that the next time you're in a Facebook group and you see somebody post that, and all you do is just leave your name and number. Be proactive, make the phone call, get their cell phone. You can call them, and if you don't reach them, how about having a video saying, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Agent, I saw they have a referral in Somerset County, New Jersey. I service Somerset County, would love to work the referral for you. I'm really big into making connections and meeting people face to face. So I'm doing this video just to introduce myself, and I hope I can work with you. And you send them a text with that video. You send the video through Facebook Messenger. You get in front of that agent while everybody else is being reactive, you're being proactive. Great way to generate business. There are agents out there whose whole business is working referrals from other agents. But you must be proactive. You can't just sit there and hope people are going to give them to you. Be proactive. Another thing you can do is conventions. I have a good friend, he's probably watching now. Him and I are at convention together at the RE/MAX R4, and this man takes 2 hours to walk from point A to point B because he talks to every agent that he sees, and he generates hundreds of thousands of dollars of referrals from it over the years. Just by being out there in the convention, just by investing his time and the money to go to the convention, but also while at the convention, leveraging the convention, making connections and getting referrals. Also, you want to have a team of referrals where you give each other referrals back and forth in certain areas, right? If you live in New Jersey, you probably know a lot of people that are going to move to Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, and they might know people moving this way. You should reciprocate referrals. But if you really concentrate on the referrals from other agents, and one strategy I'm not a big fan of just cold calling every single agent, like, hey, if you know anybody, right? That's a little, to me, that could be a little awkward. But if someone's posting in social media, hey, I got a referral, I know somebody do too, be proactive, get on the phone, send them a video text. Try to be proactive in getting that. Same thing with the conventions, keep the business cards, follow up with the connections you made. The referrals from agents could be a huge piece. The networking piece, right? Do you have other friends in your state who don't service your area? Do you send referrals back and forth to each other? Do you track how many referrals you get from other agents? When you examine your business and you break down the last 12 months of your sales, do you examine how many you got from other agents? Is your strategy right now for referrals from other agents hoping that somebody calls you and just gives you a referral? To me, that's not a strategy. You can get referrals like that, and it's a great thing about being with a brand is that a lot of times you could get referrals based on that. Excuse me. But what you really want to focus on is how can you be proactive and create more. Video, email. If you have some agents that you're focused on that remind them, video, email, hey, wanted to give you this tip, something I did in my business, I thought it could help. By the way, if you know of anyone looking to move to this area, please, think of me. Great way to get yourself in front of agents, networking with the agents and whatnot. Now, we went over 5 different ways to create listings, right? Which one do you think you can really capitalize on? Like I said, 99% of agents right now are not focusing on these 5 strategies. They're focusing on the strategies that we went over in the beginning, that the more traditional strategies, right? If anybody ever wants help implementing any of these strategies, that's what I'm here for, and that's what our leadership team is here for. But what I like to do now is I like to open it up for a little bit of Q&A. Excuse me. Someone asked about what's the website I talked about, transcribe and video. Website is rev.com. All you do is upload the file, and then within a few hours, they send you back the whole transcription of the video. In the comments, if you can also leave what you thought about the audio and visual experience, I would love to know, because we're always looking to improve. If it was easy to follow along. Do we have any other questions that I can answer right now? Great. Well, what I'll do is I'll drop my email address in the comments. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to be able to answer them for you and be a resource. I appreciate you guys tuning in today about the 5 creative ways to generate listings. If you take anything out of this, is just try to pick 1 or 2 things and try to consistently work on it to help you build your business. Again, I appreciate everybody tuning in today, and keep your eye out for September 16th at our top agent panel. Hope everyone has a great day.